I pledge allegiance to all the fine girls who we shall worship forever.
Welcome back to another episode of the Fyne Girls Chat. I'm Kaylah. I'm Jada.
I'm Lericka.
I'm Nique. And today we're going to be taking on the tough conversation of colorism, the whole light skin versus dark skin debate. It's kind of heavy, it's kind of deep, but we just want to start off by saying all skin colors are beautiful.
Every last
we don't believe one is above the other or one is underneath the other. All are beautiful, from light skin to dark skin, brown skin, any of that.
Black.
It's all beautiful.
We are black.
Beautiful, yes. So I want to start off by asking you guys, where do you think this whole issue between light skin and dark skin derived from? Like, where do you think it started?
I would say it derived from slavery.
Most definitely.
Literally. Yeah.
From slavery.
Think about it. If whites are superior, the closer you are to that color, the more perfect
I took
and more
that
superior you
African
are.
studies class where we literally learned about the Willie Lynch letter, where it specified light skins, where it was the official letter to say light skins work in the house, dark skins are out in the field, which really set the superiority for light skins in the whole black community, because it was taught then, and that's just kind of tradition. Yeah,
literally.
And it's pretty sad that, because it was meant to treat the lighter ones better than the darker ones.
And then the way that the light skinned people even thrive is like that would come a lot of times from slave masters. Raping dark-skinned African American women.
Yeah, and having babies. So, do you believe those things are still going on today, like the divide between light skin versus dark skin?
Of course. Yes.
Absolutely. And a lot of it, some of it even stems from like men. Some men have a preference. A lot of men, most men's preference is like light
skin. Definitely. I would do.
I've actually known a lot more men who prefer dark skin.
Really?
Yeah.
See,
I don't know, because when I went to high school, I would say I was self-conscious for a long time about being brown skin or dark. Well, I would consider myself brown skin or dark skin, but I was like not the most confident. But I always wished I was light skin for a long time. I wished I was light skin because I went to high school with dudes who didn't want brown skin girls. Not until I got to college was I around dudes who really cared about brown skin girls or liked brown skin girls. Like,
appreciated.
Yes, that's the first time I ever really had male attention. I went to a predominantly white high school anyways, so they ain't really checking for black girls anyways. So yeah.
See, it's crazy because for me growing up, I went to a predominantly white school, a white Catholic school, and I was always outcasted just because I was black. Everybody would call me the N-word. I mean, it was bad. And then when I went to a predominantly black school, that's when everybody would say, "Oh, she's white." Girl. Yeah, it was like I could never fit in on either spectrum.
No,
I went to the suburban schools, I went to the country schools, I went to a hood school, and I could never fit in.
That's the crazy thing about it. There's a problem on either side. My mom is very light, and when she was in school, went through the same thing. Was like bullied because she's light, or like she's not black enough, or with the white people she was the black girl. Like,
yeah, it's like there is no happy medium at all. But I feel like within our community we need to come together and realize that we are all equal. We are all black at the end of the day, and we all have black ancestors. So all of our ancestors went through the same things, and they are literally rolling around in their graves right now, okay, listening to this shit. Like, it's like we have to find a common ground and literally come together and see each other all as one.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a fix to anything. Exactly. And I think that's the hardest thing, because I was actually talking about this when I was invited as a guest on another podcast, where we were talking about how was it that the bill for the Asian community came into legislation so quickly, but we're still fighting after 400 years for something.
Jews as well. If you can prove that you were related to anyone who had to go through the Holocaust, you can get a certain amount of money.
Exactly.
If you can prove that you are related to someone who's Native American, they'll give you like a reserve.
Yes,
which still kind of sucks.
And what is the Native American when they go to school for free?
They get scholarships.
Yeah, they
have
like scholarships.
Yeah.
But for African American people, obviously our skin tone can prove that we're related to slaves who were brought over, and there is
no type of compensation for nothing. And one of the reasons why we were talking about it was because, again, with the quickness of it, and somebody pointed out and said, because each one of those communities all stood behind each other. Exactly.
That's true.
And that's what we are very, we're very divided. And I had talked about that, you know, with the protests and everything that was going on last year with, you know, Brianna, with George and everything. That was the number one thing I had talked about on my Facebook, is that we're all outcasted by our own community. But the thing about it is, to a racist, you're all the same. Exactly. It doesn't matter if you're 5% black, it don't matter if you're 10% black, 50-50, whatever the case is, you are seen as a black person, and a racist is not rock with that. Bottom line. Right. And that's why we struggle to see any sort of progress in our community. There was a quote that I had read, and it really stuck out to me, by Malcolm X, and it was like it was talking about the black community, and it's like, we're not outnumbered, we're just out-organized.
Absolutely, because I don't even think there's a minority bigger than African Americans in this
country. I'm sorry, we can get into this, but we are the superior race, which is why this is why they took us from Africa and brought us here. Like, that is literally, we are the superior race. Like, they knew that. Period. Yeah. They knew that.
Definitely. That's why they had us doing every damn thing.
Look, everybody gonna be coming out my neck, so I don't care. I don't care.
Because that's the truth. You can literally look around. Music, any genre of music that you listen to, started by black people. Sports, really predominantly
fashion.
Fashion. And it's blown up. Like, you see a lot of basketball, football, all that, because black people. Yeah. And that's just crazy that it's just so.
Football didn't even originate in America. Mm-hmm. That came from a whole other country.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what do you consider yourself? Light skin, dark skin, brown skin, any of that? What do you consider yourself?
Light skin.
Or do you even give yourself?
I mean, I don't really, because it's obvious. You know what I mean? Like,
what about you, Nique?
I mean,
I would like say so too, but I've heard several different ones. My boyfriend, his mom will call me light skinned because I'm not as dark as them, or she's seen my mom before, and one time she was like, "You're not black." My mom is very light skinned, probably is mixed, but I don't know her dad, so, and she just said, "See my mom," she was like, "Oh, you're not black," and then it's
like, who are you to tell me that I'm not black and you looking at the color of my skin?
Yeah,
that's what I say.
It's not even like the.
But you know what? Even being our color, we can be Dominican.
Yeah. And that's the crazy part, is it's everybody else trying to dictate. Because when you just ask that, I'm like, well, shoot, I don't think I've ever out my mouth, oh yeah, I'm light skinned. I never had that in bio or anything. I never put that as a status. I'm black. Exactly. Yeah. Like,
I never told myself either. Yeah, it's from people like who said that I was dark skinned or I was brown skinned. Yeah. But the divide is between black people and African people.
Yeah. Honestly.
Yes.
Honestly, they hate us. Well, majority of them. They really do. African American people.
Me and my boyfriend were talking about it. It was before we had started dating, and I was just talking about how it's messed up, because the reason why your family can come here, get jobs, live in homes, is because our ancestors
we were drugged over here.
They shot you in fire so you can go work, eat. Live in your own house, pay your own bills, take a shower like you're supposed to.
Exactly. We set the foundation.
They went through all that so you can come here and do that.
That's true.
Like, I started the motherland and I didn't want to come here anyway.
Exactly.
So, they didn't want to come.
Right.
They just
we marched for those rights, though.
Yeah,
we built everything here, so
that's fine.
That's why I don't understand it, and I don't mean they should be just kissing black people's feet, but there should be a respect, a level of respect.
A level of respect.
I don't think that they should hate us.
Like, we already have enough hate.
And that's a big issue, because
y'all hate us.
Exactly.
But we're y'all.
Exactly.
Honestly.
Yes.
And when y'all get over here, y'all are technically Africans in America.
Right.
African Americans too.
Right.
Okay.
And that's
I'm probably going to have some conversations about that.
Yes. It don't matter, because that's the only difference, is that we have ancestors that were slaves, they don't.
Yeah.
But, like,
I mean, maybe they do.
Maybe they do. You just didn't.
We don't know. Exactly.
And that's
because one thing that was driving me up the wall, and I'm probably going to get a whole bunch of commentary back at it too, but yes, there's slavery, but that doesn't outrule, at the end of the day, everything that's going on in today's world, we are hated, regardless. These people aren't looking, I support this black person more because they weren't affiliated with slavery, their family wasn't slavery, so they're fine, but this family right here, no, they look black,
all the same.
Yeah, the color
exactly.
of your skin really is, that's it.
Exactly.
They don't care
we
what
can't keep debating about everything
you have.
Exactly.
And then it's like there's a divide because I just feel like a lot of African people, Ethiopian, whatever, what have you, a lot of them look at African Americans as people who just don't want to work, as people who are lazy and entitled. But the thing is, if you look at rich people who already were rich and just inherited money, what are they? Lazy, entitled. They don't work. Not responsible. They do whatever the hell they want with their money. They blow it. And I don't know. And then they say so. They just have so many negative things to say about African American people. It is irritating. It's very irritating because it's like, okay, y'all, even if you get over here, you work hard, but that goes for anybody who's over here. If you work hard, you'll make it to where you want to go, and if you don't work hard, okay, you're not going to really benefit of it.
And I hate that.
But honestly,
competition. But
honestly, the truth is that we all have to work just as hard as an African American person in America to make it anyway. You can be the best damn doctor in the fucking room, and guess what? You're gonna have to work 10 times as hard to prove that if there's a white one in there who hasn't done half the shit that you've done. Yep. Because why? That is the privilege of being African American.
The white patient is gonna look at the black doctor and the African doctor the same way and say, "I want you to take care of me." Yep. You have the same skin color, but that's the crazy part. When you said they really believe, we don't take America. We take America and its rights for granted. And we I think African people really don't understand is that America doesn't love black people, and black people understand that. So it honestly gets a lot of people to a point where they're discouraged. I want to get a job, but damn, I'm looking at the paperwork and I have to put on here that I'm black and I have an ethnic name. They're definitely not going to hire me.
Oh, I'm so glad that you said that because I was talking to my wife and she has an aunt who is in HR. She's a human resources person. She went to college for it and everything. Her biological name is Kizzy, but as at work she goes by Nicole because that's her middle name. So she put on her application that her name is Nicole, and she ended up getting the job. That's crazy. Just by changing her name to her middle name. And it's so crazy because this is an actual fact. If you don't have the normal, I say normal name because if it's not like Maria or Jessica or you see that or Sarah.
It's beyond.
And everybody says that there's laws and things to protect that, but being on the government side of things, I have seen so much. I had a cousin that is on, obviously, not my black side, and I literally watched her go through candidates and not select certain people based off of the name, which is so insane. So, that bothers me.
Have you ever dealt with
why do you even have to fill out that word as an American? What is the point? I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's another thing.
It is. It's crazy. Have you ever dealt with colorism within your own family?
Of course. Yes. Of course.
I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I ever have, but
in my own family, no. Have I had? Actually, yes. Yeah. It was very rare though. Us people up here, we don't really do that. But I had some family down south. Okay. We went to visit Tennessee actually, and we had a cousin that did not want my sister to come in because my sister is lighter than me, and she does not like light-skinned women, or women that are lighter complected. She just does not like them, and it's She went. She told her she went come home. I was like, ain't none of us going in there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But it's just down south, a lot of older.
There's a lot of racism now.
Yeah, and a lot of older people just have their ways about themselves where they're just well, I'm not doing this, nothing. I was kind of shocked by that.
When you think about it, though, you can't really blame them for their reasoning. My Nana hates white people, and because she'll tell me stories about how they used to walk down the street and spit at them. I don't know.
And white people, for older older people is like understanding because they were there.
They
went through that.
No,
Kate.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, she would just tell me stories about how because her mom cleaned houses for a living, and I know that had to be a terrible job to do that for white people. You know exactly how they were doing them. Like you could just.
But they wanted them to do everything.
Like a slave.
But you want us to raise your. These are the people that you want to raise your children.
Yeah.
Right.
These are the same people
that used to walk to work with her, and they would spit at them. So I never I always understood her distaste for white people because you see them. You've seen
the personal experience will definitely shape hate. It will definitely bring about like some type of hate or some type of like preconceived.
Even watching
something
makes me hate white people.
I'm not gonna lie. I've watched a few things. Even, you know what? I'm not even gonna say I watched a few things because in real life I witnessed some things that can literally make me be like, oh. But I choose not to be that way because I realize not all white people are the same. Yeah, everybody's not the same.
Exactly.
But it just I don't.
Or like to be a black person and to succeed in this world, you can feel that way, but you have to act like everything's cool.
Exactly. And I think that's been my biggest struggle.
You damn near have to be an Uncle Tom,
right?
Which sucks.
Because in my family, everybody just thinks that my family's police. And everybody just automatically assumes in the black community, oh, I'm always going to be protected because it's police.
When I was that one kid that you crazy because he didn't know he was related.
Exactly. Exactly. Like your last name is what? There's no way in hell you could be related to that person because you are black, and I know that family is white. It was impossible for him to comprehend. And trying to explain that to my family, where my family's telling me, oh, just name drop or just tell them who you're related to. You don't understand in their racist eyes. They don't care. It doesn't matter how you're raised. Again, I was raised in the country. I was raised in the hood. I was raised in the suburbs. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm black at the end of the day. My son is black at the end of the day. And I think that was the hardest thing. Like I know my family was my family was so frustrated because they couldn't comprehend what I was trying to get across.
Because that's white privilege.
Exactly.
They don't realize it.
They don't realize it. That's what I had to explain.
They never in their life really had to understand that because they're
exactly.
Thrown out.
And until I had to explain, about Dominic, raising a black son with the same exact last name as me. Nobody's going to look at him and say, oh, that's your uncle, that's your grandfather. No, you are a black child in a white neighborhood, and it seems as though you don't belong here. I don't care who you're related to. They don't ask questions. They don't ask who you're related to.
They don't ask, they shoot.
You are detained or whatever before they're ever going to ask who your name is. And that's what I had to get across to my family is there's not going to be any questions. It's that phone call of either my son is down at the station or my son is no longer there.
I talked to my boyfriend about I don't even have kids. That's the scary part about it. Like you have to think about the conversation you're going to have already.
Exactly.
And that's what I had said. I had these conversations at a young age.
I had that conversation with my kids already.
It even doesn't have to be to the point to where if they stop you, it's if they come get me, don't move.
Yeah. When Anthony Floyd was murdered in cold-blooded, me and their dad, we went downtown. We protested. So we were part of it. So we he had the kids one night. I had the kids when I went, and then somebody had the kids when we both went. But when he was down there, I was just showing the kids, there was live, and Daddy was in live, and they're like, what's he doing? And I let my kids help make a poster. But I had just kind of explained to them, they're like, what happened to him? Why is everybody marching and stuff like that? And my 6-year-old is beyond intelligent.
Yeah, she's beyond her years.
She really is. And Naeem's, my son, who is 4, he's right behind her. So when they are hearing stuff, they're taking it all in. So my daughter literally came to me and she said, so I don't know why that police officer did that to him. I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't show her the video because I felt like it was a little too much. Yeah, it's way too much for a child to see. You know what I mean? But I was like, well, some white people were brought up and taught to hate black people literally just because we're black. And she was like, well, that doesn't make sense if we don't hate them. And I said, well, no. I said, but a long time ago, that's just the way that it was. And a lot of people still haven't come out of that and realized that you have to love all people, and a person is a person, and their value is worth so much more than nobody's better than you.
No.
That's basically what I was telling my daughter. And so she was understanding of that. And so, like, after she understood that, she was just watching it. And she was like, that's so crazy that he could do that. Because why didn't he get in trouble? Now, imagine having to explain to she was 5 at the time. Mm-hmm. Imagine having to explain to a 5-year-old why a police officer who hurt an African-American man and he didn't do anything, murdered an African-American man in front of everybody with hella witnesses and even a video was not in trouble at the time.
Yeah, you know what?
I said, you know what, baby? I said, he will get in trouble. I said, sometimes, you know, sometimes people get away with things, but not for long because karma or God always comes back and takes care of it. Not or God, I meant karma and God. I didn't say God was going to do that, but I just like, you know, you're going to get what's coming to you when you do stuff like that. But she just couldn't understand why he was in trouble at the moment, and I'm just like,
because you know, she knows right is right, wrong is wrong.
Absolutely.
So she knows she knows there needs to be because she knows there needs to be consequences. So to explain to her like that these consequences are immediate, like she knows it should be.
Yeah, she was hearing everybody talking about that CNN, so she was like. She was into it. She was like, we're watching news. Like, around that time, she was willing to keep watching news. I'm like, you're becoming a junkie like your grandma. We're not doing it because we'll be around this mug depressed.
Right. Yeah, I don't even really watch the news anymore. I'll read articles, but I don't watch the news.
But literally, all that was going on was
Sheldon's trial.
Yeah, like, all that was going on was, at the time, all that was on the news was riots, deaths from coronavirus.
Literally, and I was like, I can't. Like,
there was some, and they were just blasted. You know, the media will continuously always blast the negative and overshadow the positive any chance they can get, and they'll spin things. And Trump was in there just saying stupid. It was a lot.
Hiding in a bunker.
You know how to go there.
Listen, we won't talk about that.
That's my video.
Get back on track, Nique.
Okay, so. How would you say the whole light skin versus dark skin and colorism has affected you in your life? Like, has there been any specific situations that you remember, like, it affecting you, whether it be school, work, any of that? I can personally remember one from work. I had a boss who, like, he acted so surprised that I wasn't ugly. Like, he was like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty. Yes,
I hate that phrase.
You're so pretty. But he was very funny acting. Like, every time I went to the office, he'd be like, oh, what do your parents look like? What do your sisters look like? Da, da, da. And just one time I showed him, and he was like, oh, your mom is not black. But I swear he had a whole change of attitude after that because he thinks I'm not black. He thinks I'm not 100% black. So he was like, oh, that's why you're not black. Your mom's not black. This is that. And I went home, and I'm like, telling my mom, and I'm like, yeah, I was seeing like the innocence in it. Like, I'm like,
trying to have the
he was too damn old.
And my mom was like, you showed him? I said, I'm like, yeah, I showed him a picture of us. I'm like, why? She was like, I don't even like that. He's asking you that, and like that at the end, he just came.
You don't need to be asking like,
that's why you're pretty because your mom is light skinned and you're not black. Blah blah blah. And my mom was like, yeah, no, I don't like that. So then after that, my feelings was hurt. Like, I'm like. Like, so then I texted him. I was like, I don't really appreciate that. Like, I don't appreciate the interrogation. I don't appreciate.
I went straight to HR.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's the first one that says, is there HR or somebody above you? He was like, no, I run my own company. I said, I'm supposed to say this to you.
Every company has HR.
Yeah, my dad was telling me that, but I'm like, he's not gonna tell me. But I did quit, like literally like a week after that. But I was like, I just don't appreciate like the things you say to me. He's like, it's a compliment. I say you're pretty every time I see you, and I'm like, yeah, but. I understand how you're trying to make it seem like it's coming off, but I see it. Like,
it's inappropriate.
It's not.
Right, you're like, why are you
telling
me I'm pretty for?
Every day?
Every day. Every time. We have to pick up our checks, but I swear every time you'll be like, I remember when you came in for your interview, and there was this pretty black girl in this green dress, and I was just like,
the fact that you just said pretty black girl.
That's what he was always saying.
These are all red flags.
Yes, it really is. And the only time this happened to me has been at work. A couple summers ago, I worked at a daycare. I'll spare them. I won't say the name. I will spare them. But they were like, I was the highest qualified person working there, the only one with a degree. Mm-hmm. And she was just so, like, always checking on me, always in my classroom. Just like
micromanaging?
Yes, and I had picked up this spray. This was, like, right when, it was in June last year, so right when stuff started opening back up, so we had to, like, disinfect everything. And I picked up this spray, which we all share spray. There's, like, 3 classrooms in a row in the middle one. So me and the other teachers, they're cool. So we all share spray. Yes, I picked up another. She was like, "What are you doing? Yours is over there." She's seen the other ones do it countless times. She's like, "What are you doing? Yours is over there. You use that spray. You don't come over here and use this spray, blah, blah." And
It's a spray.
Yes, I said, "Okay." And I put it down and I just looked at her and then she came back over to me and she was like, "Sorry if that seemed a little rude, but I'm just not in the best mood today," or something. I forgot what she said. I don't know what she said. But I just so was like, okay, like.
But that still gives you no right to speak to anybody that way.
And on my last day, you know what she said? "I'm very impressed by what you did with the kids and your work." I was like, "I graduated.
I went to school for this.
Child education degree. You don't have anybody in here with a degree. They all, and I'm not discrediting it, but
They were white.
yes, all of them white. And I'm not discrediting. They went to trade schools and stuff like that, but like.
I got the degree.
The highest qualified person you have.
Because if you had your degree,
So
you
why
would
you
have
be
been
so
everybody else's
surprised about what I'm doing. And then last summer she was texting me asking me if I wanted a job, and I was like, no. Like, I would advise any black person not to work for you. Like, you don't want to feel like that every day at all. Just like everybody's looking at you. Like, I don't even feel insecure about what I'm wearing because when I walk in, they're all like, they're just looking at me.
Yeah.
Yes, they stopped talking. If they were by the door, I would go to the bathroom. Like, I just wouldn't walk past it. It was just horrible.
You really did. This is what I've learned. When you're nice, when it's a predominantly white area, and you're nice, they start to think you're cool. That you're cool with how you're being treated. But when you go in there and you like ghetto as fuck, then they all try to be your friend. It's so weird. Like,
And not even that, try to find reasons to get rid of you. Because that's what I went through.
No, they all, bro. I mean,
It depends.
When I went, okay, so, go ahead. Would you want to share your personal experience? Go ahead.
But in my last job, you know, I thought I had my foot in the door. Like, okay, this is government work. Like, I made my way. Now I'm here. Now I can move up. Until I started to realize there's nobody else like me around. And I used to be scared to talk about things like that, but now after a year of my experience, what can they do? You know, when we started working from home during the pandemic, and I was being questioned if I was going to be able to work from home with my son, it just, like Nique said, I was too nice for too long, and people started taking advantage of that.
Yeah.
I thought superior, not necessarily I should
You
say
can't
that.
let them throw a lot of work on you either because they're going to expect you to do a whole bunch of shit every
Exactly, and that's what happened to me. I didn't necessarily feel superior. I got promoted in a short period of time, which usually does not happen
That's
in
something
government
that
work.
you can be proud of.
Exactly.
You can be proud of that.
Exactly. And what I didn't understand was this now area of work that I was going to surround me around a lot of people that did not come up like me, were not the same color as me, and therefore I went through one of the hardest times of my life because I didn't even realize like what was happening. And one of the reasons being, everything started happening like a trickling effect when we went to a protest. We went to George Floyd's protest. And we weren't even in the mix of it. But just me posting. But yeah, I knew like I was a hard worker and I knew that I was capable. But it's like everybody was looking at me crazy because I'm the only person of color here. I'm the youngest here. I don't have the ring on my finger.
Age discrimination is a thing, I'm not going to lie.
Exactly.
Yes, it is.
I had every single contributing factor that was allowing me to be outcasted to a point where my back was up against the wall. And it took me a long time, you know, going through all of that to realize I don't have to deal with this. This is not what I went out and got a degree for. This is what I came here for, to go to school for free and to move on with my life. And it's just crazy because I didn't even realize, like, and that's what would get me so frustrated because, like I said, I was going through all of this at the time of Breonna Taylor, at the time of George Floyd, you know, and it was just back to back to back things. And it's like, this is still happening in today's world. And people that are the same, you know, other black people are getting upset with me because they think that I made it in life, not even realizing that I'm a fellow black person literally getting outcasted like anybody else.
It makes you go the extra mile with your future jobs. Like, I made sure there were black teachers where I work now, and I love the school I'm at now, I love it. There's black teachers, there's Mexican, there's
diverse.
Yes.
Exactly.
And there's not just one of each. There's multiple black teachers. There's a few teachers of other races, and then there's white teachers too. But yeah, I love it there. But everybody is just so welcoming, so kind. My first classroom was basically a hand-me-down classroom. They were all in there like, oh, do you need this? Here's this, this.
Sweet.
Yes, I love it there. I'll probably never leave.
And that's how my new job is too.
Yeah, it makes you be selective. Like,
exactly.
You want to know who's working there, who.
Yep.
Yeah.
My new job is based on core values, like, and they're constantly cheering you on. Like, I got like 3 shout outs today in one of my meetings, and I do my work, you know what I mean? But because of like all the hell that I went through in that previous job,
you appreciate that.
Exactly, it's crazy that you actually get acknowledged for your work. I talk to see people there. Right,
yeah, it is.
I talked to the CEO of our company, you know, like this week, and it's crazy because like when would a CEO ever reach out to their?
That would never happen. Yeah.
Exactly. So the integrity, like you said, like it makes you work 10 times harder to be deserving of a job like that, like and truly be appreciated like a human again.
Yeah. And like my personal experience of colorism, I started having like a whole bunch of experiences with colorism when I was young, like when I was little. So, alright, don't laugh. I used to want to be white.
Aww.
I did. I wanted to be white so bad because my hair was. Now I'm learning to appreciate my natural curls and stuff like that. But you know, being natural wasn't always cool.
No,
it wasn't always in. It wasn't always embrace the melanin in your skin. It wasn't always that. At all. It wasn't that. When I was growing up, it just got to that point where like appreciating curly hair and stuff like that.
Now I feel bad because my hair is straight in this side.
They know you got curly hair.
I'm about to say, Jada have curls.
Okay. But they're just not getting to a point to where like that stuff is appreciated, because before then it was like, oh, if your hair's not straight, then it's unprofessional. Or your hair's clean, long or straight. So I kind of went through that for a little bit. Had a breakdown because obviously my hair was curved. Okay, I had relaxers before. I had relaxers. Mom didn't know what to do. My hair. My hair. Yeah, almost every black girl got the same story I'm trying to tell y'all. We all got relaxers because that's what was in. If you was born in the 90s, you know.
Because a relaxer was going to make your hair grow.
Okay, it was going to make your hair grow. It was going to make it not nappy. Yeah. Okay, which it did.
Man, also made it
because it broke it all up. Right. So I went through that for a little bit. One of my experiences that happened to me when I was younger, I was out with like my church and we went to a C6 pizza. Y'all remember C6 pizza?
Hell yeah!
We used to have a buffet and you had to like go and get like macaroni and cheese pizza. I was like, it was the Hawaiian cool. Macaroni and cheese on pizza. I was it. So me, like, and a few of the girls that I minded with and went to church with, we were all, you feel me, at the little kiosk at the little buffet table, just trying to get some pizza. The white lady and her kids are over here, and it was the kids that said something. It wasn't even her. They was like probably like preteens, like middle school type age, and they were like, they probably want some brownies, just some corny shit like that. So one of the girls I was with, she's like, did you hear what they just said? I'm like, what they said? Because I was on trash. Okay, because I've always been a type person. But I was like, what? What did y'all say or whatever? And they're like, what are you talking about? No, we were talking about the. Do you think I'm an idiot because I'm African American?
Yeah.
No, I know exactly. You know what you meant. I do too. So that was just one instance. So we're on 2 instances now. Because one time I had a mental breakdown because I wanted to be white, and my dad, I had an Ed Hardy hat. And I had just got my hair curved, so it was all straight, but it wasn't long. I think it was like here or something like that. And they had the nerve to try to flat iron my shit. Why would y'all do that to me? And then bump it. Like, what? I'm out here looking like a fur party. Okay. For real.
Girl that black if you don't have a little fur party.
They burned it or whatever. It was bumped. But I was still feeling myself anyway. So I put my hat on. I could have like told me that when my Ed Hardy hat on. My dad burned it because he was on a spiritual journey, and he said it was demonic because I had a small one. But he's the person who gave it to me, so I burned my damn hat. And he was like, we gotta go to the barbershop and get your brother's haircut. I'm like, oh, here we go. Like, why you act like you don't want to go? Because you wear that hat. I don't want to go nowhere. Because I really thought I was fly with that hat on. So I had to break down because my hair was like this. I'm already dark skinned. Everybody hates dark skinned, okay? I was literally one of the darkest siblings at the time. Because I don't know what happened to my siblings over years, like they ended up darkening up some or something. But everybody used to be like light, and I was the darkest. Me and my oldest brother were the darkest ones. So yeah, you know, like I didn't feel accepted, and you know, obviously my siblings felt like, you know, my siblings didn't feel accepted, but I'm looking at myself and I don't look like them, so it's kind of like, you know what I mean? And people are saying that they're pretty all the time, but I don't barely get compliments. I don't think family understands what that does to a kid. You compliment one sibling, and you don't say something to the other one about their outfit or about their nails or whatever. It does something to us. But anyway, I had a breakdown because I wanted to be white so bad. So that was 2 instances. Third instance, and then I'm done. So I went to a school by the name of Genoa in Westerville. Predominantly white school. This is my first time ever being to a predominantly white school, y'all. And I was in 8th grade. Like I went in, and I'm very smart. Okay, I know that, I don't know, maybe a lot of people, some people don't think that, I don't know, but I'm very smart. I was very studious when it came to math and science, so I was in advanced courses from gifted and talented courses from 6th grade all the way up to high school, where I made the decisions and I moved forward. But that's another story. So I walked into my accelerated math class, and this boy says, "Is she even smart?"
I wouldn't be in here if I wasn't smart.
Okay, and that was my thought process. But because it was a predominantly white school, I didn't know how to react to them. I had never been around so many white people at one time. I know that sounds crazy, but I hadn't been around that many white people at one time. So I walked in, and he goes, "Is she even smart?" Because I'm black. I'm the only black kid in this class. I'm sorry, if you're African American, do not send your kid to an all-white school, because you think bullies exist in black schools. Yeah, in black schools they might you might get punched a little bit. They might make fun of your shoes or something like that. These white schools, they take it very far. It's lethal, because you know what? They try to ruin your life, and there's something about them. They have like an evilness in them, and they're very manipulative and conniving, and it's just, I don't know. So one made me think that we were friends. Let me tell you how this went. When I went to Genoa, I thought that I had like a buddy or whatever in class. I never even told you this. Something I told my sister, because obviously that's my sister. But I sat next to this white girl, and we would like work together and stuff like that. Like when he said that somebody had to be partners, obviously everybody was like, "I don't want to be her partner. I want to be her partner." And she would get stuck with me a lot. So I thought we became kind of cool. And so like one day, like she was kind of being rude to me or whatever. But like I said, I didn't know how to respond to that. Like normally at a black school, like I would just beat you up, or like I would just like cuss you out and be like, "You're talking to" or whatever. But you can't do that at like white school, you really don't. Tell your ass real quick. Well, I didn't know that at the time, but I also didn't know what to do, because it's just like, is she getting smart with me? Like I think she's trying to be funny. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's right. She wouldn't try to be. No, she's not. So I was like overlooking everything. Yeah. But she just was looking for the opportunity to embarrass me in front of a boy that I told her that I like. And yeah, bitch, yeah. So it's time for gym, and even in 8th grade at gym, they make you wear, like in white school, they make you wear athletic shorts, and they give you these t-shirts that you have to wear every gym class. And I didn't have none. Because I'm like, wow, we need because we gotta put this on every time we go to gym. Like, it's stupid. We don't even really do anything to have this on. Like, and then they wanted me to pay for them. Like, first off, I can only afford one shirt. My mom can afford one shirt, so this, and my shirt's dirty, so I don't have it today. So she's like, "Oh, I think I have an extra one or whatever." So you feel me? She gives me the shirt and stuff like that. I put it on, and we go outside to the track. Now I'm telling you, this boy I like, his name is Matt. let's see, that blue eyes, hair split up like this, it's fine. Okay.
It's always the boys with the spikes.
Always! Like the boys. But anyway, so.
I was like one white boy in my life and never again.
Yeah, I like 2 white boys in my life. The first one I fell on a playground and I got this. That was a kindergarten, but we're not going to talk about that, okay? So, yeah, Jada, come on, I'm trying to get it out. So, we got out to the track, and he came up to us or whatever, like, he was like, hey, or whatever, like, he was just saying hi. I was like, hi, how are you, or whatever, like, you know, I'm using my studious voice, because he can't think I'm stupid. So, then she's like, oh, we're not doing anything, or whatever, and then he was like, he said something about, like, something that he was having at his house. Now, mind you, I don't go to white people's houses. So, she's like, the girl that I thought was my friend, she was standing next to me at the time, and she was like, he was like, kept kind of talking, but I'm like, I don't know if he's talking to like us, or if he's like literally ignoring me and just talking to her. So then it got to a point to there, like, they just having a conversation, I was kind of standing like, so we're supposed to be stretching or whatever. And then, like, then he asked about me, and she's like, oh, well, yeah, she didn't even have the shirt. She couldn't even afford the shirt. So I doubt she's going to be able to come to that. And I was like,
Oh!
She said that. She was like, well, yeah, no, she couldn't even afford it. Like, she said she couldn't even afford the shirt. Like, she probably can't come to that. And I'm like, yeah, did you forget I was here? Like,
They don't care. They don't care.
It's crazy. It gets worse.
Okay.
It gets worse. So,
Dang,
it gets worse. Wow. So after she says that, I overlooked that. After she said that, he's like, all right, well, we just want to invite her then, or whatever, and then she keeps talking or whatever. So then after that, I'm like, oh, and then I asked her when he walks away, like, so what was that about? For some reason, gym teacher still ain't came the fuck out to teach our class, nothing. Like, he literally just still standing by the bleachers. I'm like, what are you doing? So, no, not by the bleachers, by the fence.
Mm-hmm.
So, she was just like, I was like, well, what was that about? Like, what was he saying that we should do or whatever? He was like, oh, don't worry about it. You can't go anyway. I was like, well, what do you mean? I can ask my mom. He was like, no. She was like, you probably won't be invited. I was like, well, why not? And she was like, well, you know. I was like, I don't know. I was like, what do you mean? She was like, you know.
What is that supposed to mean?
I don't know. And I'm like, I don't know what she meant by that, but I just didn't say nothing because I was just like, okay. Well. She didn't talk about because I'm broke. It's because I'm broke or because I'm black.
I don't know.
I never really made it clear. And then, like, normally at lunch, like, after that, like, that was our last period, so before lunch. So when we get to lunch, after that, like, she, like, there was an open spot, and then, like, she hurried up, and, like, I was about to, she seen me coming to the table with my lunch, and she was like, hurry up, sit here, I think she's talking about me. Or another white girl hurries up and fucking sits down and puts her lunch down, and I'm like, okay, so I guess we're not friends anymore. So this is Mexican, so I can sit with them, and I can sit fuck those white people. But it was very lonely after that. I sat, in I accelerated math class and accelerated science class by myself, but it was just like, bro, I had never felt so outcasted in my life. Like, I felt so lame, girl.
That happened with me too.
I wanted to just cry myself. I just wanted to cry every fucking day.
Man, I don't blame you.
I stopped going to school, and they was about to file truancy, but I was like, I really don't want to go to my school.
Yes, it's lonely. I went to a predominantly white school as well. I didn't really run into any white friends like that because I went to a middle school that had a lot of black kids. There was one high school, so we all had to funnel into this high school. But it was a predominantly white high school because there's two middle schools, one's full of white people and there's still white people in middle school, but I didn't run into any thing like that, but it's very lonely too.
I was so happy when we moved like back to the east side and I went to Yorktown. I was like, this is some people. This is nothing.
I hated being the only black.
Because we don't treat white people like that. I promise you, when they come to our schools, we do not treat white people like that. We be like, they're white. We don't do that shit. But they do that shit to us. Like, we just be like,
But if you think about it, growing up, you probably weren't told anything bad about white people.
No, I learned our history. They could have came in. I could have just been like, oh hell no, they can't.
But
Remember when they did to us?
your judgments or white people or prejudice or whatever you have is not nearly as bad as.
But the crazy part is, Nique, we have way more of a reason to hate them than they do to hate us.
Exactly.
Like,
That's the crazy part.
But they're just brought up hearing all that.
Exactly.
Exactly.
They can't name not one thing that an African American ever actually did wrong to them.
No,
right.
The majority of the time, a lot of those people can't name not one thing that an African American personally did to them, to make it wrong. But I mean,
because colorism was
we got a long list.
Okay.
For y'all.
Okay.
Because
Roll it out.
when I started like in the Catholic schools and whatnot, and it was a predominantly white school, I didn't know anybody. You know, I knew okay, like that's so and so, that's their parents or whatever. But when you're the black person going to an all-white school, everybody talks about you. Exactly. Everybody talks about you being the black kid. Yeah. And same exact thing what happened to Reek. Same exact thing for me. The girl tried to be my friend and whatnot, and then they made bets.
And I think she liked him.
Yeah. What?
Susie.
But they made bets
know
and
the
stuff.
sad thing is, like, I didn't want to be their friend. Like, the white
I did because
kind of like,
listen, I was young. I've always been really, really outgoing, and it's always been so easy for me to make friends. And I always just talk to always just like literally, I just make friends. So for me to go to a school and not be able to just make friends, it was hard for me.
I mean, you were so young, so you don't even realize. Because that's where I was.
I was in 8th grade, so I was going through like puberty, but I was going through a lot at home too. So it was just like school used to be like my getaways, and I got to a school that I hated, and everybody down there hated me. It was just like. I mean, the Mexicans was cool. They showed me love.
Yeah. I was 9, and I didn't have anybody. Like, there were no Asians, there were no Hispanics, there was none of that. It was all white folks, and I was the only white kid.
You were 9. Yeah, you
were. That was the first time when I started like getting into like relaxing and stuff, because they had made a bet of like basically everybody playing friends with me and who could stay friends with me the longest, and they would throw mulch in my hair at recess because they said my hair was so kinky it looked like mulch.
Yeah, that's just crazy. When you I don't remember wanting to be white. I remember wanting to have hair like white people.
Yeah. I did.
I wanted to be light skinned because I just thought that was better. I didn't want to be white.
I wanted to be light skinned with pretty eyes.
Yep. Because my sister's light skinned, and growing up, I just remember I would look at this one cheerleading picture of her and be like, man, I wish I looked like that. I just wanted to be light skinned so bad.
Because I had a boy light skin, it's the opposite.
But I had some boys tell me, when I was coming up, I had boys literally shit on me because I was light skinned. Those little notes that you write, or when I don't know if y'all remember this or not. If you live in Columbus, you probably know. It was real big to rate people 1 to 10.
Yeah. Yep.
On a piece of paper. You would write down names, and you would rate the names. Okay, she a 10, she a 4, she's a 2. And those notes, they would get around to everybody.
They go around when they make the list in the boys.
So when you see your name, and you see 4, and then I'm like, damn, but why? And then you write a note or whatever, and then it's just oh, because she black.
That's my next. That's my next question. God's influence. So let's get into it. God's influence, because I specifically go back to a specific memory. It was real big to go to the mall and the movies and middle school and stuff. So I went with my friends. I had a mixed friend, 2 mixed friends, and a white friend. I was the only one that was just always black.
You didn't.
No, it was my other friend liked him too, so we was just talking to him, which I was cool with that. We liked the same boy, but we was both talking to him, and he was like, "Well, I don't want to date Dominique because she's black, she's dark, or something like that." And that really that messed me up.
Girl, that's the same thing that happened to me. When I was I think I was 10, and there was if you live in the hood, every hood got
you don't want to talk to no guy out
there. Every hood got a candy lady. Or a candy house. Candy house wasn't too far from my house. As a matter of fact, it was damn near right across the parking lot. So we went over there or whatever. The boy said he was going to buy us some pop or whatever. So I'm like, okay. And I had a friend at the time. Her name was Alexa. She was light skinned. She had pretty eyes, long hair. She's beautiful. Friend, he was like this. You're not seeing color, but I guess he was. He was dark skinned. He was ugly as hell. Anyway, my damn hair.
It always be the ugly one.
He literally came out with a pop. He was like, "You want it? Psych. Here you go, Alexis. Your black ass." And I was like,
"That's what he said."
Yeah, we was living in the hood. He was some bad ass kid. little kids out there tell you suck they dick. Like,
Yes.
edit that out. But they were babies. Yeah. So he was like, here you go, psych. Here you go, Alexis, black ass. Well, he ain't say the fuck, but he was like, with your black ass.
Yeah.
It was like,
Bam.
I went to go cry. Yes, it was around everybody in the neighborhood. Like, it was all at the candy lady's house. Like, everybody seen me get embarrassed and everybody was laughing. And I was like,
it does hurt. Like, it will make, like, it really.
And he wasn't even cute, and he hurt my feelings.
That's the funniest thing.
I be looking back to it and I be like, ew. Like, the same thing. I think, I'm like, what the.
Thank you.
Like, everybody rated me a 2. I'm a 10 now. So.
You look like
it literally makes you not want to approach men, like, because you would just think like,
and then as soon as like,
like black girls,
it'll make you like self-sabotage too. Because I had like some really attractive light skinned dudes like really like me, and I'll be like me, and I'm dark skinned, but I'm, you know what I mean? It'll really make you self-sabotage. Be like, nah, you don't like me for real.
Yeah, like one of my brothers, for example, loves dark skinned women. Like,
really?
Like all of his moms are
dark skinned dudes too.
Yeah, I would have never believed it.
And I was my fight because Chris Brown.
Yeah, I would have never believed it.
I'm saying Chris Brown definitely made me have a type. Yeah. And that was my type. And a lot of guys that I ran into that, you feel me, I ended up like sometimes talking to or whatever, I was like, yeah. I was just literally not talking to them.
It's hard to do because how often do you hear like, oh, I love dark skin girls, I love brown skin
girls. But a lot of times growing up, you don't hear that, and then they'll be like, oh, you pretty as fuck for a dark skin.
But they love, you hear how men love light skin women.
I'm not even a phrase.
Yeah.
Not even a phrase.
Yeah,
I'm pretty for a dark skin.
Everybody would say that. What does that mean? Just say I'm pretty.
And there are, for the record, there are ugly light skin girls too.
Because I was gonna say that's what everybody would always tell me.
I've seen her.
Yeah. You're not as pretty as what
I wasn't always pretty.
That's funny.
I used to be smacked
every single which way.
All of that.
Everybody used to give me a 2. Like I could
no, and you know what's scary? I was afraid
too.
So like, I was always afraid to like those status.
I never did. That's what you wanted. I
was like two things. I used to send the numbers in the DM.
People would tag me. I'm like, bro, I
didn't want to see any range. I was just always afraid it was gonna be low. Like I didn't want to see any.
And I was even asking too. So dudes is like, oh, I'm gonna buy this. I was dark skinned, bald headed, and tight, man. Like I was skinny as hell. Like I mean, I won't say skinny as hell, but I was bony. I didn't have no butt. I thought I did, but I looked I definitely was a flat back. So you know,
I was very skinny too.
But it's definitely influenced by guys because a lot of the times, even though they're growing and they're still understanding themselves, a lot of things that they say can be detrimental to our self-love and our confidence as well. Because when you're that age, you care about what other people say. You care about what other people think. It takes you a long time. It takes you a long, especially when you don't have a daddy. That's one. It takes you to another point where you're like, damn, like they really don't like me because of dark skin, and it's females too. I'm not just going to say that it's men that do this because the girls do it too. Because a lot of the times when, you feel me, you have a whole bunch of dudes running after you because you're light skinned or whatever the case may be, you like, oh bitch, I'm better than you. All the dudes want me, they don't want you. You know what I mean? So, and then some girls play a factor. Some girls play a factor in that as well. It wasn't always just the guys either, especially at the hood schools, man, where they all run after a light skinned chick, and you know now she's like, yo, nigga want me, this nigga want me, you know what I mean? They get up on their high horse sometimes, depending on who it is, though. It's all about how you are as a person. You know.
So to end it off, ladies, as the Black community, what do you think that we could do better with this issue?
Uplifting. Yeah.
Uplifting, yes. And
like, stop talking down.
It's about us. We have to come together.
Because it's gonna start with them because
we have so much room
already.
We have so much room for us if we came together.
If you set a good example,
exactly, because we're setting the foundation for them, and if we can't even get along, how are we supposed to put it on them to get it together for us?
You know, it's a lot of change. It's a lot to unwind, undo.
I say love it.
Exactly. We have to come together.
We lack a lot of love in our community as a whole.
And identify.
Compassion, exactly. And a lot of people don't literally, there are so many people in this world, like, and that's why it matters how you bring your kids up. Absolutely. You gotta bring your kids up to love people just because God loves us. You gotta teach kids that, because if you don't, they'll grow up just feeling like they don't have to care about people because that's not their family, or they don't have to care about how somebody feels, or they don't have to care about what may hurt another person because, oh, that ain't my family. Guess what? That's your family in Christ. And at the end of the day, that's your brother or sister, and you never know when you're going to need them. You turn around and need them, and then what? You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm saying though, like,
church, amen.
Okay, because everybody is your brother and sister through Christ. It's like, I don't know. Okay, that's like somebody outside, right? If you don't bring your kid up like this, then there's something wrong with you. And you should always bring your kid up to love everybody. Because if there's somebody outside and you see, we know body language, and we can. A lot of us can read people, so you can kind of tell when somebody's going through something like that. If they come up to you, or just say something random to you, they might just need a smile. Like, they might just need somebody to know that, you know what I mean, like, that they're noticed, they're noticed, or something, because not everybody is like, I don't know, and I'm saying this specifically for the Black community because every other minority does that for each other. Yes. Every other minority, they literally will live in a house together. They will all take one car to McDonald's. They will literally all work at the McDonald's, and they will save up money. And guess what? They move out when they all have saved enough money for everybody to move out and have their own damn car, have their own place. They work together. Yeah. We don't do that. We don't have
our kids out at 18 years old, let them fend for themselves and figure it all out by themselves.
We are, and then we get into it. We get into it with our siblings. Yeah. Yes. We get into it with our siblings, our family. Family don't be family after older generations pass away. People don't care about staying close to people they love no more.
Don't even know who your cousins are. Don't know who your uncles are.
You can come around and be dating your damn cousin and don't know.
Facts.
Yeah. So
that's the thing.
We just need more love in our community.
Exactly. And I was going to say, we are a community without unity.
That's true.
That's true. And what
it just starts with us.
That's why we don't have nothing. Yeah. You see, when we all stood together behind George Floyd.
See what happened.
You see.
We shook the whole world.
We had people overseas protesting.
Yeah.
The whole world.
And you see the outcome. He's in jail.
Exactly.
You see what we can do, and that's what they're scared of.
That is the power of. Exactly. Look, I got chills right now.
Because that's what they're scared of. What we can do.
Exactly. When you're educated with power.
Yeah. Even if you ain't, educate the next person, because guess what? Even if like the next African American person like hasn't taken the liberty of educating themselves, a lot of people don't. That's just the truth. As a Black community, we just need to work on, trying to educate each other. Yes, maybe you've taken the time to educate yourself, but there are a lot of people who, just live in a certain lifestyle. And African Americans, we live all different types of lives. There are some African Americans that come up with money, and then there are some that are in the slums, ain't never been nowhere, don't really plan on going nowhere, just trying to stay alive for their 20s type. Then there's middle class, and then there's higher class.
There's so many different categories.
Right.
So many.
If you, don't look down on somebody in the I'm just speaking in regards to African American people. Don't look down on somebody because you feel like they might not know as much as you, or they may not have as much as you. Because at one point, you might have been there too. And if you haven't been, it's not that hard. You're 1 or 2 paychecks away from literally being where they're at. Right. So let's try to stop, categorizing our own people, and let's just be people who love each other and see each other for what it is. Because at the end of the day, we're brother and sister. The only ones that's going to care about us is us. And if we don't even care about us, why would they?
Facts.
Yeah. That's what it boils down to. Be a friend, love, be there. You don't have to know them. It just boils down to just us being a community, being together, working together. Because they know when we do that, we're going to take over the world. Yes. So,
it's not really a matter of time.
Stop the damn colorism. We all black.
We're all black. We've all done their thing.
And teach your kids not to do that.
These I call them Gen Zers. Woo!
Man, and it's even under them. I
don't even know the
taught
generation
a third grade class, and this is like the second day of school. We're outside, and there was a brown skinned girl, and the other boy making fun of her was light skinned, and he was like saying something. He was like, "Yeah, that's why you're black, you're dark." And I like heard the last little bit of it, and I was like, "What did you say to her?" And he was like, not wanting to say, and I was like, "Well, you know you're black too." And I was like, "What does your mom look like?"
Yeah.
Like I was like, he was like, "You?" I said, "Okay, well I'm brown like her." And I was like, "There's no difference." And I was like, "What if she looked at you and was like, okay, well, said something about your skin?" And he was just like, he just didn't care. But I was just trying to like get it like in his head.
But he was probably taught that, and he's probably so conformed in a way that like it's probably almost too late.
Yeah, that's why my daughters can't call my son white.
Yeah.
That's why my daughters can't call my son white. I know I'm dark, y'all, but my son is light skinned. And I don't know how he got that way. I think it came from my granddad. But I don't let my daughters.
Generations down.
Yeah, like genes are.
I don't let my daughters call him white. I don't let them like be like, "Oh, you're the lightest one." I don't do that because my son literally came into me and he was asking me one day like, "Am I white?" I'm like, no. He's like, "Well, I'm not the same color as my sister." I'm like, "You're just fine. Yeah, that's just the way God made you."
That's the beauty of our skin, baby.
Yeah.
We come in all different shades and colors, and we're all so beautiful.
Yeah, that was kind of heartbreaking a little bit, though.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, you had an issue with being white. I had an issue with being dark. Let me talk to you, baby. Let me get you your love right now. Yeah.
Me too. But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. Then we made it to the whole video. Thank you.
Kudos to you. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we did. And that's all we have for today. So sign off from the Fyne Girls. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Drop it. We just